normal. It was time for a new normal with Nucala.
Nucala is a once-monthly add-on treatment for severe eosinophilic asthma that can mean less oral steroids, not for sudden breathing problems. Allergic reactions can occur. Get help right away for swelling of face, mouth, tongue, or trouble breathing. Infections that can cause shingles have occurred. Don't stop steroids unless told by your doctor. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection. May cause headache, injection site reactions, back pain, and fatigue.
Ask your asthma specialist about a new normal with Nucala.
Tomorrow on ET. Why the Brat Pack is reuniting.
I went back and started hunting everybody down again.
We're with Andrew McCarthy and his harshest critic, his son.
To Dad, that's the stupidest movie I ever saw.
Such a great interview. Make sure you check that out tomorrow. Meanwhile, we have one more thing to show you before we go. Take care, y'all.
This is happening now.
We continue to follow the end of Title 42 and how that will play out on border communities like here in Eagle Pass. Overnight, we've already made several encounters with migrant groups who have made their way into the U.S. We'll have details coming up.
It's all about the strength and timing of our next round of storms. I'll get into that and talk about how much rain we could see through the weekend in just a bit.
And finding quality childcare can be difficult, but in one area of the city, it's almost impossible. Coming up, the effort to help parents who live in what's being called a childcare desert. The News at 5 starts right now. And we begin at 5 with breaking news in Northeast San Antonio, where an hours-long police standoff has come to an end. We're told this started with undercover officers tracking an aggravated robbery suspect.
But then police say they found 3 more suspects, including one wanted for a 2020 murder. Patty Santos joins us from the scene near Loop 410 in Ira Lee. Patty, this was a nearly, 24-hour operation?
Yeah, the scene just wrapped up a few hours ago, but we understand that surveillance led undercover officers to this apartment complex around 6 o'clock last night. They watched this complex the entire night, and eventually this morning, they called in SWAT for help. Take a look. This is a picture of officers arriving this morning as SWAT moved into the apartment complex. After 7 hours, police were able to get in and get all 4 people and take them to jail. All of them had warrants, including one for capital murder, aggravated robbery, burglary, and aggravated assault. Police had to use chemical agents to get the suspects out without injury. Luckily, not many people were impacted because the building was almost empty.
The building that they were in was about, I think they said like 80 or 90% vacant. They're doing some renovations in that building. So there were some people that did leave, but there were no evacuations.
And we're working to find out the names of those arrested. Right on the other side of the apartment is Garner Middle School, and police tell us the school was on lockout. That means students were allowed to have school, but they were just kept inside the school throughout the day. We're live in the north side. Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Patty. Right now, let's go live to the border and show you a live image right now from Matamoros. This is the Matamoros side of the border, Brownsville on just the other side. And you can see people are lined up waiting to cross the Rio Grande. We are in the final hours of Title 42.
And that is our story. First at 5, the countdown is on, and so is the concern. You can see the clock behind us. The end of Title 42 at midnight. It's going to change the landscape of our border communities and the rules that govern them now. And as we just saw, already crowds of migrants sit and stand along ports of entry, waiting for their moment to claim asylum, or in some cases cross on their own. Yeah, the public health order known as Title 42 living out its last hours. We are following the situation very closely all along the border. We showed you Matamoros. Well, Jonathan Cotto is reporting live for us in Eagle Pass now, where the processing centers gearing up for some historic numbers out there, Jonathan. Now, earlier we had reporting that they are expecting 10,000 migrants to cross a day there.
You know, that's right. Things have been pretty steady. I've spoken with local leadership who say they are surprised but thankful that the number of migrants seeking to cross into the U.S. isn't what they were expecting. However, they say although the numbers aren't high, it doesn't mean they're not prepared, and it doesn't mean that there aren't migrants crossing over. In fact, photojournalist Sal Salazar and I ran into several migrant groups right here overnight. Inside the chain link fences of a 350-acre ranch. No te mueven, manos para arriba. groups of migrants waiting for nightfall to make their way into the U.S. through Eagle Pass. A group of 7 successful in crossing the river, but their journey was cut short and their plans to move further into the U.S. delayed. This woman says she is sad that she won't be able to move forward. Her dream was to work hard and says she left Honduras because of the danger that exists in that country. Now, it's important to talk about the dangers that these migrants are willing to expose themselves in. The terrain out here, it's rough and tough. We lived that, we experienced that last night. There are mesquite bushes, there are cactuses, not to mention the wildlife. And if you look across the distance, the terrain here is dangerous. There are cliffs that these migrants can essentially run off of, especially at night when it's low visibility. Now, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says any migrant that arrives here at the border at the expiration of Title 42 will not be eligible to claim asylum. Reporting live from Eagle Pass, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Jonathan. Now, as people gather along the southern border, one city familiar with migrant crossings about an hour north of Eagle Pass.
Back in 2021, the city of Del Rio had tens of thousands of migrants living under the port of entry bridge. John Paul Barajas joins us live in Del Rio. So, John Paul, that may not be the case today, but residents appear to be still worried about what is to happen.
That's correct. Definitely not the case. Nothing like it or to that extent. But residents here in Del Rio that we've spoken to say they're nervous. One woman told us off camera that she's seen daily crossings on her ranch, but that today, oddly enough, it's been very quiet. And with the unknown of what will happen when Title 42 is lifted, everyone here is flashing back to 2021.
This is a population of 40,000 people or 35,000 people, and we had half the population, if not more, under the bridge.
The Haitian migrant surge in Del Rio is front and center for most residents as Title 42 nears its end tonight. Former Del Rio Mayor Bruno Lozano recalls trying to manage that surge.
It was like a war broke out and people were just fleeing a war zone. I describe it like a third world instant neighborhood that just establish itself under the bridge.
And hours before Title 42 is lifted, there's not much activity besides an increased presence of local, state, and federal authorities. While of us, it's strange because by these dates, they'd already all be here, said Javier Otamendi. He lives in both Del Rio and Ciudad Acuña and crosses for work regularly. And even though it's quiet now, there are concerns about the possibility of too many migrants all at once.
I don't think as a community we're as prepared as we should be. You start wondering, how are we going to feed all these people? And
the former mayor has this message to elected officials along the border.
Make the truth be heard, give this, do your best to call out and put pressure on the administration to make tangible, palpable efforts to actually provide the personnel that's needed.
And as we've mentioned, the Del Rio sector hasn't seen too much action. We have been on the river for the majority of the day and have only seen a few people from the distance actually just wave at us. They never actually crossed over. But the police chief here also tells us they have seen an increase in apprehensions from 800 to 1,400 from yesterday to today. They say they feel lucky right now, but know things will change as other sectors start to get busy. In Del Rio, John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, John Paul. Of course, we'll check in with you and Jonathan again at 6 o'clock. And to gain an understanding of Title 42, just scan the QR code on your screen right now to watch the KSAT Explains episode that breaks down that measure. Find out where Title 42 came from and the impact it's had.
The other big story today, the weather. We're following it right now. It looks like a regular calm spring day, but stand by because Mother Nature has some new weekend plans in store.
Yeah, those plans will have us reaching for umbrellas and raincoats. Storms expected to roll in, drop a lot of water. Adam Caskey tracking things has the latest on the arrival of these storms. Adam.
And what I really want to stress is tomorrow is going to be a lot like today. Don't cancel any plans for tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. I think you'll be able to get in those baseball games and soccer games around town tomorrow. So is really an extension of what we had today. It's tomorrow night. Storms are going to arrive tomorrow night, starting along the Rio Grande and in Mexico, and then moving eastward. I'll get more into the details of the timing with the latest futurecast in just a moment. And then some intermittent weekend rain. That's what's going to be coming through the weekend, and it will be heavy at times. We have the chance for some severe storms as well tomorrow night. Nothing on the radar right now. And tomorrow at this time, it should look very similar. Temperatures 99 in Del Rio, 88 in Floresville right now. It is a humid 90 in Mico and 88 in Lavernia. As we go through the evening, very quiet, partly cloudy, southeasterly breeze 10 to 15, sticky and humid out there by 10 o'clock, 80 degrees, and then some fog, mist, and a few sprinkles possible toward dawn tomorrow. But again, most of tomorrow, just like today, we'll have the futurecast, time out those storms, and talk about the primary threats in a few minutes, Steve.
All right, from rain to a desert. Thank you, Adam. A growing number of families living in the south side of Bexar County struggling to find quality child care close by. Experts are calling that a child care desert. Our Camelia Juarez tells us how Pre-K for SA is trying to help child care providers with their businesses while increasing places for parents to take their kids.
Samantha Bermea wants to make sure her 1-year-old will have a clean and educational experience when she drops her off at daycare. But she says there are few options on the south side.
Close to my home, I've really never seen much of childcare.
The nonprofit Children at Risk found several zip codes in Bexar County have less than 5 child care facilities for every 100 children.
It's a problem, especially if you don't have the transportation to travel to high quality places.
To alleviate the South Side's child care desert, Pre-K for SA is moving its child care center on New Braunfels to Southeast Loop 410.
What we saw during the pandemic is that became an even more acute crisis, and we lost 20% of our providers in Bexar County.
Pre-K for SA is helping existing child care centers find sustainable business models while improving the care they provide. It's called the Shared Service Alliance. The alliance provides CDA child care training and a $1,500 incentive for teachers to stay after receiving that certification.
So that's a big incentive to have teachers stay and receive their credential. Those are some of the biggest pluses for me.
For mothers like Bermea, trained staff means a better experience for her growing daughter.
I want my daughter to learn. I want her to reach different milestones. It's not just, for work, it's, for herself.
Camelia Juarez, KSAT 12 News.
We're going to take a live look right now to see your traffic authority. And there you have it. All of the traffic moving northbound out of downtown. I-35 at Loop 410, the usual bottleneck before you get to 410. So, is the back seat really better for your kids if you get in a car crash? There is a new safety test out that shows a different story. The crash video that may change your seating arrangements. Next.
I'm Myra Arthur with a look at what we're working on for the news at 6 o'clock today. Heavy rain in the forecast this weekend, and Bexar County is preparing to try to alleviate any issues with flooding. We'll tell you about those preps, plus what you can do around your own house as well. 2 political newcomers have their eyes set on an open San Antonio City Council seat. We talked to both candidates about their plans for District 7 and why they say they deserve your vote in next month's runoff. Plus, the Alamo Dome is turning 30. It changed the city's skyline and how San Antonio attracts people downtown. Today at 6, the story behind its unique design, which has been debated over the years. All that and more in less than an hour.
This can result in more severe internal injuries.
This happened in all 5 top-selling small cars put through the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety's new test. As a result, none got a good crash test safety rating. In fact, the Toyota and Honda Civic rated acceptable, while the Kia Forte, Nissan Sentra, and Subaru Crosstrek rated poor. The Institute is calling on car makers to make backseat passengers just as safe as the people in the front seat. Still, they say the safest place for a child to sit in the car is in the back seat so they don't get hurt by the airbags. In other consumer news, more trouble for Peloton. The company is recalling more than 2 million exercise bikes because the seat post can break off while in use. 13 injuries, including a broken wrist, have been reported. The recall affects model PL01, sold since 2018. Contact Peloton for a free repair. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
All right, we keep waiting for these storms to arrive. You see the clouds out there. Maybe the humidity a good indication of just how ready the atmosphere is for these storms.
Yeah, and we have some time yet till they arrive, more than 24 hours until those storms arrive. So I know we've been talking about them for a while and, just saying Friday. Now we can hone it in to Friday night. If you've got outdoor plans during the day tomorrow afternoon, I think you'll be just fine. Even tomorrow evening around San Antonio, that's when we have to look off to the west for the development of storms. Take a look at our chances here. This is a good way to put it. Tomorrow during the day, 20% chance. Maybe one pop-up shower or thunderstorm here or there, but it's unlikely. Friday night is when we're expecting the storms to move in from the west and last into Saturday, and then off and on throughout the weekend, showers and thunderstorms even into next week. So notice that 80% Friday night into Saturday. Sunday we're at 60%, and then Monday we boosted up to 70%. Here's the big picture. Quiet across our area, quiet across most of Texas right now. We have this swirl over Colorado. That's one upper level disturbance moving away from us, not impacting our weather, not giving us any chance of rain. And then this little divot or little trough there in the central U.S. That's actually the disturbance that gave us our recent rain and storms just a few days ago. What we're watching for next is this area of low pressure that's still coming together near the Baja Peninsula. That's going to move eastward, and that's going to be our next driving force for the areas of rain, the thunderstorms, and potentially severe storms as well. Let's get right to the futurecast. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., more of the same. Low clouds, a little bit of fog, a little bit of mist, maybe even a little drizzle here and there. Then by the noon hour, we clear out. Here's that 20% in the afternoon. Can't rule out an isolated, a stray pop-up shower or storm, but it's unlikely. Even at 7 p.m. around Bexar County, surrounding communities, we're looking okay, just mostly cloudy. But that's the time we start to look off to the west. Along the Rio Grande, Del Rio to Eagle Pass, storms starting to come together at 7 p.m. Thereafter, they organize as they push eastward, turning into an MCS, an organized thunderstorm complex here, then moving eastward 10 o'clock. Then we get between midnight and 2 a.m. is when we'd expect it to make it to San Antonio and bring us the potential for some strong winds and even some hail in some spots. And notice even into Saturday morning, we've got the lingering activity and then the potential for redevelopment throughout the day on Saturday. And this is going to pack some heavy rainfall. You look at the severe weather risk, we are a 2 out of 5 on a scale of 1 to 5. We are a 2 around San Antonio and westward, and then you go farther to the east, the chances drop off just a little bit, but we could still have some isolated severe storms Friday night, early Saturday morning east of town along the coastal plain. Primary threats, a moderate risk of hail, especially west of San Antonio where those storms first develop. I do think a slightly higher risk of high wind gusts, straight line winds, and then flooding, that's our primary risk, flash flooding, just because of the amount of rain that we're expecting in a short period of time. Here's our rainfall potential just through Sunday night. We could easily get 3 to 5 inches of rain around San Antonio, surrounding areas, even locally higher amounts where some of the heaviest downpours develop and where they also follow each other. So 3 to 5 looks like it's going to be the general rule around town through Sunday night. And then we're going to add to that Monday and into next week. So keep in mind, this just accounts for through the weekend. Here's our forecast for tomorrow. 73 in the morning with the low clouds, maybe a sprinkle, kind of like today. By the afternoon, 87 degrees, mostly cloudy, 20% chance of a shower or storm. It's After 10 o'clock, we see those storm chances really rise, and especially around midnight and thereafter around town. Then we get into the weekend, highs in the 70s, the off and on areas of rain. There will be breaks in the rain. This doesn't mean it's going to be raining at your house all weekend. We'll have breaks, some of which will last several hours, but the point is it's an active pattern. We'll have good coverage, widespread areas of rain through the weekend and even into early next week.
All right, lot to watch. Thank you, Adam.
All right, it's never too early to start looking towards the NFL schedule.
Oh, it's a big night for NFL fans because the entire schedule is coming out tonight at 7. Now, we already know the Dallas Cowboys' Week 5 opponent, and this video, well, it's giving it away. Plus, Shaq Mason is making some big bucks with the Houston Texans. Coming up.
I think, we can do great things. Like I said, it's new to everybody, and we just got to buy in and put our best foot forward. And, everybody's building right now, not just us, every other team. All 32, we building, and, it's a mountaintop, so we just climbing.
Texans guard Shaq Mason feels rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud will help them climb high in big board sports.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
The 2023 NFL schedule will be released tonight at 7, but we already know that the Dallas Cowboys will play at the San Francisco 49ers in Week 5 on Sunday Night Football. This marks the first time the Niners and boys will face off on Sunday Night Football since 1990. Now, this is a key game for the boys who've been knocked out of the playoffs by the 49ers in each of the last 2 seasons. Meanwhile, rookie tight end Luke Schoonmaker signed his first NFL contract today, a 4-year deal worth about $6.2 million. The boys drafted him in the second round out of Michigan, and Jake Ferguson approves.
I mean, it just kind of shows us having an all Big Ten room right now. That's the best. I think that's the best conference that has the best tight ends. I mean, every guy coming out of the Big Ten's reliable. Schoon, I'm excited to see him in the room. I'm excited to meet him, see what he can bring to this room. Four Horsemen just added another one, you know what I mean? So it's going to be exciting.
He's talking about the Cowboys' tight end room, the Four Horsemen. Dallas will start rookie minicamp tomorrow. Shaq Mason is getting a nice pay raise thanks to the Houston Texans. Recently traded from the Bucks to the Texans, he agreed to a 3-year, $36 million extension that includes $22 million guaranteed and a $10 million signing bonus. Mason will be one of the highest paid guards in the NFL because they have to protect number 2 overall draft pick C.J. Stroud.
Really, just protect him. That's the biggest thing I can do is protect him. And rookie quarterbacks, it's always a learning curve, but I think he'll be fine. Us 5 up front, we're gonna do our job and try to make his job as easy as possible.
And that is a key thing, right? Houston will hold rookie minicamp tomorrow through Saturday at the Methodist Training Center in Houston.
Release the schedule tonight at 7.
At 7, so we'll have it on the night beat.
All right. Thanks, Larry.
We'll be right back.
I want to stress the timing here. Tomorrow is going to be just like today. Nothing to worry about through the day, the afternoon, and even early evening. It's tomorrow night when the next round of storms are going to move in, starting along the Rio Grande at 7 p.m. and then between midnight and 2 a.m. making it to San Antonio. Then some off and on rain, heavy at times Saturday, even into Sunday. Notice those chances 60% to 80%. So pretty widespread there. And then we elevate those chances again on Monday. Several inches of rain on the way. Drought denting and drought busting.
Certainly looks that way. Thanks for watching.
See you at 6.